You tried driving through downtown Boise recently, in which case you probably had to take a detour or two. Of course, in a growing city, construction, development is pretty much inevitable, something we touched on earlier this week when we were talking about all the traffic issues and the cones and the lack of street parking impacting downtown Boise businesses. Well, these projects are overseen by the Capital City Development Corporation, which sparked this viewer question. Hey, could you provide an explanation of the role that Capital City Development Corporation has in Boise and what its relationship is to Boise government? That's sent in from Bill, which is now a good time to bring in Andrew Bartline, who's been digging into this today. So exactly what is the CCDC, Andrew?
Well, in the simplest terms, it's a renewal agency, and they do that through looking at a couple of different districts. We'll get into that in a moment. But it was created by the city of Boise for the city of Boise, and it was nearly 60 years ago. It really focused on economic development, which in turn looks like construction and projects in very specific parts of town. If the sights and sounds are already hanging over your head, just know it's going to be some time till CCDC projects pass through the neighborhood. The Urban Renewal Agency oversees 6 specific districts. Earlier this week, we introduced you to Westside and the negative impacts the 11th Street rebuild is having on local businesses.
When there's like big equipment going, the building's shaking, and this is our first year to date through April now, about the first quarter, that we're posting a year-to-date loss versus last year.
While the Westside District's projects are expected to wrap up in 2026, 5 other districts are in the works too. That includes Old Boise, 30th Street, Shoreline, Gateway, and State Street. And these renewal plans can take up to 20 years, meaning the end dates can be decades away. The city of Boise founded CCDC in 1965 behind Idaho's Local Economic Development Act. The act was created to, quote, encourage private investment in urban areas in competitively disadvantaged border community areas. That's also how the agency is funded, or at least part of it. CCDC operates under tax increment financing. They say TIF is a funding system used in 49 states. In theory, the development can pay for itself. As property values increase with investment projects, property tax revenue increases too. Park BOI parking garages and grants also fund the agency's bottom line, which is why if you've ever gotten a charge from CCDC on your credit card, it's because they own the parking garage you parked in. CCDC is a public agency, but they're independent from the city and the state. They are regulated by specific state statutes under the same Local Economic Development Act that led to their founding. And by nature of their work, CCDC holds a close relationship with the city of Boise. That's made even more clear by their board, where the Boise mayor appoints commissioners who are officially confirmed by the city council. And based on monthly meeting minutes available online, an individual commissioner has casted a no vote only 4 times since August 10th, 2020. So long story short, CCDC is not directly part of the city of Boise government, but it is heavily influenced by that city government. The agency says they're responsible for preparing the overall plans of each of those renewal districts. That includes both private and public projects. And admittedly too, Brian, I'm glad we got asked this question because I've wondered this since I moved here a couple years ago. So it was a little bit educational for me as well.
And what you said, what I also found interesting, that no vote, only 4 times in the last 3 years. I mean, that's basically saying, yes, we want to go ahead with all of these projects that are brought before us. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, they're in charge of the planning, right? So if they're giving all the green lights and preparing these plans for it, then yeah, it gives them the green light to go ahead and move ahead quickly, I would imagine. And when we talked with these business owners as well earlier this week, that was one of the things that really upset them is all of this at once. They're a little frustrated about that. Of course, it's an ongoing conversation. Trying to get in touch with CCDC. Did talk to them on the phone today. We're going to get some more information down the road on that.
So with all that stuff going on downtown, you can either blame or thank the CCDC.
We'll see what happens.
All right. Thank you, Andrew.